Thanks for watching Worldwide Entertainment TV. Don't forget to subscribe and watch more videos right here.
Thank you for joining us, Gen 7. Shout out to Gen 7. He's another artist that I work with and had the pleasure of doing some work with. And now tonight we got my girl. Welcome to Worldwide Entertainment TV. I'm your New York and Atlanta host, Miss Goldi, and that's Miss Goldi to you. So tonight we have a special treat. This is the first time, I believe, that it's ever been done on Worldwide Entertainment TV where we premiere a video live. So, that's what we're doing today, beautiful people, It's your girl, Miss Goldi, Yonkers First Lady, your favorite multimedia host, director, filmmaker, all that. And you are tuned into Worldwide Entertainment TV, where we don't just play the culture, we are the culture. Tonight is special. Tonight is intentional. Tonight is about legacy, healing, and power. We're celebrating not just one person, but two people who have impacted my life in a real way. Not industry fake, not Instagram cute. I'm talking about the kind of impact that hits your spirit, your purpose, and your assignment. Number one, we're talking about the legendary super producer, Herb Middleton, and the powerful queen of spoken fusion, my sis, Dr. Nay Renee M. White. So, before we, bring Herb out and get into it with Dr. Nay, I want to set the stage properly, because when you say someone's name, like Herb Middleton, you can't be like, oh yeah, he do music. Nah, we not doing that. We gonna give this man his flowers correctly. I had the pleasure of being introduced to Herb at a really crazy time, and it was a crazy thing. He got in contact with me because he wanted to encourage DMX. And he was looking to make like a tribute song paying homage to artists while they're still living. So, we were talking, and I was at a point in my life, I was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And the language I was using while I was having a conversation with this man was crazy. And he was just laughing. So after I got off the phone with him, I didn't really know who he was. And I went and looked him up, and I was like, oh my God, he made like so many of my favorite songs. And he's a man of God. And just the way he had to listen to my potty mouth was crazy. So now, if you've ever been around real music, I'm talking about that soul, that timeless sound. Chances are you heard the touch of Herb Middleton. Whether you knew his name yet or not, this is a man who has worked with legends. Artists like Mary J. Blige, Usher, Notorious B.I.G., Bobby Brown, Will Smith, Al Green, Kenny Lattimore, and the late great Teddy Pendergrass. And the list just keeps on going. And I'm giving you the backstory because I have to tell you before we get into Dr. Nay and what these two created, I got to give you a little bit of the backstory. So Herb isn't just a producer, he's a musician, number one. It's like you can't get a sound out of him because everything is always different. Everything always comes from wherever he gets it from. He's a musician, a songwriter, an arranger, and a visionary. He's one of those people who could sit at the keys, here's what's inside your soul, and say, okay, we're going to pull that out and we're going to put it on a record. Can you be a witness to that, Dr. Nay? One of the most beautiful things he did was produce I Am Who I Am. That was the last song written by Teddy Pendergrass before he passed. That alone tells you the level of trust and respect Herb has in this industry, because legends don't just let anybody handle their last words. That's sacred. But what I love most is this. Herb is not just about hits, he's about purpose. He's the founder of Moontown Records and Publishing. And let me tell you, Moontown ain't no regular label. It's a movement. It's about creators' rights, ownership, integrity, and using music as a tool to heal and uplift, not just as noise to scroll past. When you see the Moontown name on something, you know it's about quality, heart, and message. And that's why I rock with Herb. Not just because he's a legend, but because he cares about the people behind the art. And um my lovely sister, Dr. Nay. Now, when you mix a man like Herb Middleton with a woman like Dr. Nay, woo, you don't just get music. You get a movement, a moment. Like Dr. Nay is not just an author. She's not just a poet. She's not just an educator. She's a force. She created this whole lane of spoken fusion. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight, spoken fusion. Blending spoken word with music and ministry in a way that hits your mind, your heart, and your spirit all at the same time. And me, I didn't just hear her work, I experienced it. So I want to take a minute to share my personal story with Dr. Nay, because I feel like somebody watching right now needs to hear this. So, Dr. Nay works with Herb Middleton in Moontown, and Miss Goldi works with Moontown as well. And Herb was talking about this spoken fusion, but he talks about art, he talks about music, he talks about sports, and he's always talking about something. So, okay, this is just another thing that Herb is doing, and he's always doing something. So he's like, oh, yeah, we got the spoken fusion with Dr. Nay, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, we put the music behind her spoken word. And I'm like, that's cute, but he's like, that's like rap, right? No, it's not rap. So it's like, like a song, right? No, it's not a song. So I got introduced to Dr. Nay through shooting her video. And just from the first conversation, it was like we gelled instantly. We came to find out that we have the same birthday. We were having the same back surgery in the same week. And it was just like I found my solar twin, like I found my twin. And it's just been, like, say less. And it was a season in my life, and some of y'all know my story, some of y'all don't, where I was fighting through a lot. I was fighting through grief, fighting through disappointment, fighting through addiction, fighting through distraction, through people who smiled in my face, but didn't really believe in what God put in me. I was still Miss Goldi to you, still moving, still creating, still shining on the outside. But on the inside, I was tired. I was questioning some things like, God, you sure you picked the right one? You sure I'm strong enough for all of this? And in the middle of that season, God connected me with Dr. Nay and this project she was working on with Herb. So now I didn't walk into that situation as a stranger to the game. I came in as a filmmaker, as a director, a host, ready to work. But what I didn't expect was that while I was helping her bring her vision to life, God was using her words to bring me back to life. I remember listening to her pieces, the way she talked about power, about purpose, about embracing who you are and being called, not just talented. And there was a moment I'll never forget this where either in conversation or on set, and just the way she carried herself showed me the strength of a woman, standing tall, picking herself up, moving forward, regardless of what she has experienced or what she has went through. She used that as fuel to create this whole spoken fusion, because sometimes as creatives, as women, as black women especially, we're so busy pushing everybody else's dream, we forget that we're the dream too. So in that season, working with Dr. Nay, watching her stand in her calling, author, educator, speaker, innovator, it reminded me I'm not just out here doing content. I'm walking in a call. And God will send people like her to reset your vision when life comes to a blur. So, this project wasn't just, okay, cool, we doing another video, another piece. This was therapy wrapped in creativity. And Herb, with his heart, his patience, his gift for building sound around someone's soul, and Dr. Nay with her words, her wisdom, her bravery, that combination became like a mirror for me. A mirror that said, Goldi, your story matters. Your voice matters. Your next chapter is going to be bigger than your last mistake. And if you know anything about my journey, especially my sobriety, my healing, stepping back into my power as a filmmaker, as Miss Goldi to you, that wasn't just a cute moment. That was pivotal. So when I say I honor these two, it's not just industry talk. It's personal. And I'm sharing that because somebody watching this right now, you might be in your own in between who you were and who you're becoming, in between broken and healed, in between lost and found. And maybe you think you just clicked on a show or you just slid into a live, but I believe you're here on assignment. And because when people like Herb Middleton and Dr. Nay show up in one space, it's not just entertainment, is impartation. So, as we celebrate the music, the art, the visuals, I want you to open your heart a little bit. Let the lyrics hit different. Let the production hit different. Let the message soak in. If God can use music and words and collaboration to remind me who I am, He can do the same thing for you. All right, family, I think it's time we bring out our guest of the hour. I see Herb has joined us. He is a multi-platinum producer, a musician, songwriter, arranger. We already talked about his contributions and his company. And we also have my beautiful sister, Dr. Nay Renee White. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm here.
So, Dr. Nay, I just, I talked so much, I was just giving people a chance to join in the live, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of this thing, and what we're here for tonight, which is talking about spoken fusion, talking about your collaboration with the Herb Middleton, my brother, and we already told the people a little bit about who Herb is,
Hmm.
and who you are, and you know it's an amazing thing, and I'm excited. I'm really excited about spoken fusion. So do you want to jump right into the video, or do you want to get to the questions?
Okay. Yes. Well, let's. I just want to kind of extend what you were saying, but also Herb just texted me. He's having some difficulty logging on, so if you could contact him. But I really appreciate all that you said regarding the impact that I've made on you, and not to mention the impact you've made on me. Right? It's always reciprocal, or it should be reciprocal. But I love, how you talked about, purpose, calling, and this entire project has been just so amazing. And it's not like I planned it like this. I didn't have being a poet. I didn't have a spoken fusion. Publishing a book wasn't on my radar whatsoever. Right. But
Right.
how everything has evolved, I would say it's all meant to be. The way I met Herb through someone I had met, out of the blue, and how we started talking, and how everything just came together. So I think it's a bigger movement
Yeah.
than just us, because we
Yeah.
have, I really believe we have God behind us as to what we're doing.
Yes.
Because it's just we could all the pieces are like coming together. All the puzzle pieces are just coming together. The timing is just phenomenal, unbelievable. I'll get into a little more detail later on. That touches upon this, but yes, it's an amazing journey, um, and I'm having a ball. I'm having a ball, but at the same time making a difference, because it's all about making a difference, on
I,
other
yeah.
people.
Yeah, and that's what being responsible with your creativity is. What are you
Mhm.
doing with it? Are you making a difference? Are you making an impact, or are you contributing to what we don't need any further contribution to? So while we're waiting on Herb to join us before we get into the video, I just want to talk a little bit about the video and the fun we had on set. And so tell me, what was it like working with me as a director?
It was such a fun experience. I love new things. I love to learn new things. I love to experience adventure, etc. So all of this experience now in the music field, and learning, even what goes into producing and studio and etc. But being on set with you as well was
Mhm.
such a learning, but fun experience, seeing what happens behind the camera, with you directing, being specific, knowing, how to move, what to do, your direction. It was just all clear, and it's so interesting, you do these little pieces, but then when you see it as a product,
Right.
as a package, a creative package, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what she had in her mind. It's like, okay, it makes sense now, because it's just little pieces here and there. But then when you
Yeah.
see it, yes. So yeah. So I thank you for such a grand performance, and it was so great that we had to do another one, of course.
We had to do another one. And
and
big
I'm ready.
shout
And I'm ready to do another one.
because she is one of the few talents that I have worked with that I can trust her to shoot her own content. So the second video, she actually did a lot of work there herself, and she knows how to be a director because she also directed her sons, and she gets her whole family involved. They're all actors and they have to play the parts, and she pulls it together for me. And it was such a pleasure because usually you can't trust artists with these things. And, like, oh my God, is she going to mess it up? I just knew she wasn't because we're so much alike. She's going to make sure that it's right. She's going to get it right. And I so love that about you. And it definitely was a pleasure working with you. And I work with people, and sometimes they're like, what is she doing? Like, what is she talking about? And sometimes I can't tell them what I see in the final product.
Mhm.
I only can see what I see. I only can just do what I'm telling you right now. Please don't,
Mhm. Mhm.
and making people feel comfortable is
Right.
what's most important, and making you feel like
Mhm.
you are what you're saying.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
are that in this moment.
Right.
You every word that came across, and you were an excellent subject. I mean, you just exuded energy and beauty and just flowers blooming, and the people where we were shooting at, they was just amazed and stopping. And well, I'm surprised you didn't and no one asked for your autograph.
They should have.
I'm really surprised no one asked for your autograph.
Right, right. And also, what was so interesting, we had mentioned before, how there were more men asking
Yeah.
what what we were doing, and the book, and what's Embrace Your Power. So that's where I just want to make the point where yes, I do focus on women, but the message that I give really is universal, is for anyone.
And it wasn't like, guess what, guys? The men were stopping and watching, and she was
Mhm.
fully clothed. She wasn't twerking. She was fully clothed.
Mhm.
And the men were stopping, and not stopping because they were gawking at her, or they were very interested
Mhm.
in what she was doing, and what she was saying, and how she looked. Big shout out to Kevin at Worldwide Entertainment TV. I mean, this man has been probably laughing at me for 10 years because I could imagine what my blooper reels look like, and he watched me go from one extreme to another. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure every time he see me, he's probably like, she got a different hair, she got a different look. she, I don't
But,
know.
but what I hear is consistent is your quality of work, and what a great person you are. Herb just raved and raved, about you. So, that also builds, that trust issue,
Yeah.
as to she knows what she's doing. She's done this before many a times. So just to let you know.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate my big brother. We trying to get him in here. So, because I have questions for him. We want to get to which video you want to go to first, Dr. Nay?
I guess the Embrace Your Power. We'll start with that one, because it's also the title of the album and the title of my book. So we'll probably talk more about
Embrace your
that.
power.
Embrace Your Power. 11:13.
11:13. So, give us a little backstory on Embrace Your Power and what 11:13 means in all of this.
Okay, with I decided on Embrace Your Power because that's also the name of my book, Embrace Your Power: Transformative Journey of Self Discovery. And actually, Embrace Your Power, the spoken fusion, is the first poem in the book. There are two poems from the book that we have transformed into spoken fusion. And so we decided to do Embrace Your Power first. And Herb sent me the final track on November 13th. And I said, Herb, I'm like, what's 11:13? It sounds so familiar. Like, what is it? What is it? And I thought about it. I said, okay, it's my sister-in-law's birthday. And then I'm like, no, well, that's not it. And then I said, I think that's the day of my divorce. So I ran to my files. I found the papers, and sure enough, the judge signed my divorce papers on November 13th. So I call 11:13 as my emancipation date, when I freed myself from, one situation. But then it's the idea of starting a brand new phase in my life. Um, on 11:13 with the music and with the spoken fusion. And what is even more interesting is that I said, well, let me Google it and see what 1113 mean.
Uh-huh.
And it talks about trusting your intuition, taking action on your goals, embracing new opportunities, and it encourages you to step into your personal power.
Uh-huh.
So it's like just, and I didn't know this before, the title and whatnot, but it's just crazy where the exact same words and the exact same purpose of the song
Mm-hmm.
is connected to the number 1113. So it all just fits together. And it wasn't planned that way. It just, that's how it unfolded. Yeah. And even with the title Embrace Your Power, how I came up with that
Mm-hmm.
was because I couldn't think of the title for my book, my first edition. And my son was in the process of he had received a new certificate. He's in a certification. He's in cybersecurity, and because of his new credential, it was the idea of asking for a raise or a promotion to that extent. And we were all standing in the kitchen, and we're like, well, you know what you deserve, you know what you've earned, right, what your real worth is. So I said, embrace your power. And then I said it again, embrace your power, to my son. And I said, that's it. And that's how I I came up with the title originally for the book. It's all about not just women but men as well, looking within and understanding their worth and the power they have within. Have you found them yet? So actually, the project itself covers various topics, and my poetry, I call it conversational poetry that's inspirational, because I want it to be like, girl, you need to, like women talking to each other around the kitchen table or in the bathroom or whatever the case. So, I see myself as one who have been there, did that, so many different things, being a woman of a certain age, and sharing that experience and that knowledge with um, other people to try to ease up their growth process, so maybe they won't go through certain experiences that they don't have to. So in the book and in the album, um, it's all about women embracing themselves, um, choosing themselves first, because many of times we don't. We always look at, what we can do for this person, that person, and we put ourselves on the back burner. So we have, or I have, some songs on there entitled um, uh, um, I'm I'm taking care of me first. I am who I am. Um, Divine love. Let them go, because sometimes we hold on to pain and toxicity when we know we need to move on, to focus on ourselves. There's another cut on the album, Congratulations. As I had mentioned before, I'm divorced, and I was having a conversation with Herb in the studio about, I was going to have a divorce party. And he laughed and he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, it's unfortunate how so many women may feel embarrassed or ashamed, that they're divorced. Um, and I'm not saying you should get divorced. Of course you want to do whatever you can, but if you get to the point where it's not any good for you, right, mentally, spiritually, then sometimes it's that time to move on. So women who have embraced their power and said, no, I'm not going to continue with this, I'm going to end it and focus on myself, I say congratulations. You've taken control of your life. You have, um, you're doing what you need to do, not just for yourself, but possibly your children as well. So that's congratulations. Um, yes. And then there's another cut. The first song on the album is Cookie Power. How many of times, we want love, we want affection, and we're so quick to give that to others. We're so quick. And do we get it in return? Is it reciprocal? Sometimes no. So it's the idea of, well, how can I better allocate my time? How can I better allocate my love, my affection, my food? Thanksgiving is around the corner. Um, so it's the idea that, women need to realize that they have that power as well when it comes to relationships. So, yeah, so there are various songs, various topics um, that are universal on the album. And like I said, with my book, there are two poems, Embrace Your Power and I Am Who I Am, that cross, both of the genres. But there are poems on, in chapter one, for example, um, loving yourself, self care, sometimes we're just a hot mess, or you're tired of being tired. What do you maybe you need to do about that? So with the book, it's not just poems, they're also question prompts, because I want the listeners to hear the spoken fusion. I want them to listen to the words in the book. I want you to read the words, but also reflect on the words. How does it relate to you? How does it make you feel? What inspiration did you get to move on or to improve, your life in your situation? And then also in the book, it talks about um, how do we um, make change in our life or go through transformation. What are your goals? What are your desires? What are your aspirations? And what do you need to do to get to that particular point? So, my book is, I would say, like a self help type of book, is very reflective. And that goes back to what Miss Goldi, was saying, how it's not just words, it's not just um, something to listen to. I want you to really think about it, and how can it make a difference, and how can you pass um, that inspiration on to someone else. Embrace your power, girl.
Embrace your
Embrace your
power.
power.
I love it, Dr. Nay. I just love watching that video. And like you really out there embracing that power. Gen 7 in the comments said smooth fire and inspiring. Oh my goodness. It looked like so much fun you were having as well.
I really was, and yes, so that's my purpose, to inspire people, for them to see, what it's like to embrace your power,
Great.
the feeling of peace, of joy, and yeah, living life. And someone might be asking, well, where was she? So I was in the DR.
Omar said
I
that
was
was
in the DR.
incredible. Omar said that was incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Big shout out to Omar. You know, he's the other camera person, right?
Yes, he's
Omar.
one. He's one of them.
Yeah, you know, she got her whole crew.
Yes.
Dr. Nay got the whole crew. So, Dr. Nay, spoken
Yes, ma'am.
fusion is bigger than a genre. It feels like a calling. How did you discover this style? Was the spiritual language your soul wanted to speak?
Um, well, like I had mentioned before, I really wasn't planning, to be a poet. I always was a writer, but but not poetry per se. But then, at one point, some about 5, 6 years ago, the poems or the words actually just started coming, and it was like taking dictation, poem after poem after poem after poem. And then I realized, oh, it's all about messages to women.
Right.
And then I said, well, I was trusted with these words. So it's the idea of how can I use them. I was given these words for a purpose. It's to,
Hmm.
meant to be out there to help people. So that's why I decided to publish my book, so that people will have access to it. But then time went on a little bit, and my girlfriend Kathy was saying, "Oh, your poetry is like music," and I said, "Yeah," I said it would be great to have music, you know,
Right.
or turn it into a song or something. I didn't quite know. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about the music industry. Do I sell lyrics? Do I like what? Like, I had no idea. So I met someone who invited me to sponsor to share my books or sell my books at a gala, and
Hmm.
just so happened Mr. Herb Middleton was an honoree. And
Hmm.
they were introducing him, and they were saying, "Oh, he's multi-platinum, multi-Grammy, and nominated, and he's worked with Usher." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "I'm in the room with this man." Some people who are musicians like forever and would die to be, in a
Right.
room with this man. And I'm like, I just so happened to fall upon this opportunity. And I'm the type of person, when the opportunity comes, I don't let it pass.
That's
Okay.
right.
That's how you always stay prepared, and get ready to go. So after, he received his award and etc., he sat down at the table next to me, and I got up and I'm like, I'm gonna go over there and talk to him and tell him what I want to do and what I do. So that's what I did, and I shared with him, my book and the books I have for children, and how I would love, my poetry to turn into music. And it was all about empowerment, and that really raised, his eyebrows, because Moontown is all about, humanitarian efforts and
Yes.
making a difference and whatnot. And yes, so I emailed him a follow up, and we spoke, and I shared some of my poems with him, and that was it. So one day I was in the studio, and I said, Herb, I said, this is so different, because I really didn't know how it was. I just told him I wanted my words to be music.
Hmm.
And so, every piece that he created, I was like, oh, wow, I hadn't even imagined it to be so fabulous. So going back to in the studio, and I said, Herb, this is, so different as to what we're doing. This is like history. What should we call it?
Right.
And I said, spoken fusion is a little different, like you were saying before, rap is different, etc. So I said, so he says, oh, well, people will be confused. Fusion, that's it, spoken fusion, and that's how we came up with the genre. It's spoken because it's music infused, as you heard, with poetry, and you really wouldn't know, did the poetry come first, did the music come first,
Right.
and it's just so intertwined. It's like that, not like the music is behind my speaking, it's just all intertwined.
It's like saying what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Exactly.
So what's
Exactly.
the one line from this piece that still hits you every time you hear it?
uh Girl, let me tell you again. uh, so yeah, so I don't know, it's just, it's so interesting um to hear the music, the final product. It's like, those are my words, because I can go back and read something and I don't remember writing it, so
Right.
to hear it, it's just such an amazing journey. But yeah, but the line, um about embracing your power, or how you're fierce and you're feminine, you're powerful, you're bold, so it's the idea of speaking those words to become those words, so
Right.
we all go back to, self affirmation. And a lot of people, need to hear that, and because they may not hear that, many of times society, may beat us down. But,
Right.
thank God, I had a mom who always said, Renee, you can do whatever you want to do, be independent. A dream isn't too big, so it's really the idea of me continuing
Mhm.
her journey, and using her words, to share with other people, to for them to be all they can be, and for them to embrace, the power. We're all born with that power. It's just that many of us, we may not use that power, or we may not use it in, a good way, a positive way for
Right.
ourselves.
Right. I'm a mom, you're a mom. You're also a teacher, an educator, and you spoke about your mom. How important is it for parents to speak these things into their children and be supportive of their children?
Hmm. Words of power. Words, like, let's say, oh, sticks and stones, or something. No, 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 no. Words have power, and we have to be aware that what we speak, um, can come into fruition. So we want to speak positive upon, our children. Also, as a college professor,
Mhm.
for almost 30 years, I teach teachers, for elementary classrooms, and I teach elementary teachers to be literacy specialists. And that's one thing that I do focus on, with how do you speak to the children in the classroom, because you can make a difference, and then, one of my favorite courses, graduate courses, is cultural literacy, where teachers, have to speak positivity upon all of their students, right?
Right.
Even the ones that don't look like them, because it really has an impact on self esteem, self love, self determination, um, etc. So,
Right.
teachers, parents, whatever significant, adults or individuals are there with the children, we have to, um, really, speak it into them.
Yes, I do believe that because I find a lot of these kids don't have that, and they grow up with a mindset that no one cares, and why should they? And you may have teachers like yourself that care, and that's important. So teachers, social workers, pastors, if you have access to children that are not yours, just make sure that you're that person that they can come to, that tells them that they can do anything. Because sometimes, as I know a lot as teachers, I feel bad for teachers a lot because they become so much more than a teacher. You can't just be a teacher. You can't just see kids in your classroom that may not have eaten, that may be getting abused, or they may have some learning difficulties that no one's identifying it. You have to become this like person that has to look to the soul of this child
Hmm. Hmm.
before you can even teach them.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
So
totally.
I applaud you for that in your work. So we're going to get into the next video, and we're going to come back and talk about it. So right now we're live Worldwide Entertainment TV with the lovely Dr. Nay and the premiere of her videos, Spoken Fusion, with the first video. If you missed it, catch the recap. Uh, Embrace Your Power. And we're going to fall right into Hell No. You ready for us, Kevin? It's always such a pleasure talking to you, Dr. Nay.
Always, always.
You have such a great spirit, and that's important. Very, very important.
Mm,
Okay, so
here we
here
go.
we go.
That's embrace your power.
It's like looking in your window, Kevin. We can see. Omar said you embraced your power. That's right. And I'm pretty sure he is a front row witness to it.
Yes, and that's what I teach my sons as well, since they were young, to embrace their power. And and you say it in various ways, but you want them to become, you know, who they're destined to become.
So how is that for you being like such a girly girl, such a diva, raising men?
I love it. At first, it's so interesting because at first, when I found out that my first son Omar was a boy, I was like, "What do I do with a boy?" Because my sister had three girls, so I was so used to dressing them all cute and pretty, and and dresses and etc. I'm like, "What do you do with a boy?" Um, but it's amazing how you change, because the older one played football and the younger one played basketball through college, and all through like high school and stuff. I was the football mom. The football team came to the house. I cooked like 10 packs of bacon if they could smell the bacon from around the corner. 4 in the morning. We went to every game. I have my jersey. Even now, I watch football and I have my ref shirt on Sundays. So yeah, so I'm having a great time, and and just like when I talk to people in the street, who have young children, I just tell them to enjoy every phase, because every phase is different.
It is.
So now they're men, where it's like, okay, we can even hang out a little bit.
When I'm with my son, they always think that's my boyfriend.
Same thing, same thing. So I'm like, all right, you got to sit over there.
Right.
Too, and it's hell no to abuse, any type of abuse, verbal, physical, emotional, etc. And it's just too rampant, in our country and around the world. And actually, I believe I wrote that one during COVID, when the stats for domestic violence had increased so high, so much across the world. So it wasn't just an American issue, but also a global a global issue. And now, with women rights, with the idea of sex trafficking, um, so much abuse, going on. Even think about, I don't want to get political, but the Epstein files, etc. Still an issue. That's a big issue that we need to address. And there are various reasons why women may say in those situations. And one reason might be they don't think, they have a choice, or they think that abuse, is love. So it's the idea that, with the hell no, it's like I'm saying, no, you don't have to live in this pain. You don't have to live in this toxic environment. You don't have to be afraid for your life, or your children every day. So it's the idea of giving them the power, for them to realize that they have the power to make a better life for themselves, as to you saying, hell no, I'm not going to continue this. I'm not going to be your punching bag. I'm not going to be, your object of, you building up your self esteem, for as to how you may speak, to me. No, I'm not accepting it. So it's like, don't call me out of my name. Don't call me, um, you know, a bitch or a hoe that you're here in the video, because that's unacceptable as well. I was given a name and I expect to be called by that name, unless it's honey or baby. That works too, but nothing that's degrading or derogatory towards an individual um, shouldn't be done. Oh, and also
So
I would
this-
like to give. Oh,
Ready?
sorry. I would like to give a shout out to my actors in this video. Um, this is where family comes in. It's a family affair, and it's just idea of having a ball with that. And we have
Hey,
Darnell.
Darnell.
Yo, yo, yo. Can you guys hear me?
Hi.
Oh, it doesn't come through the system there. That's okay. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
So thank you for joining us right now. We're premiering. This is Dr. Nay Renee White. We are
Okay.
Hi,
premiering
Darnell.
her video.
The doctor.
Hell no. Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me, hold on a sec, ladies. We want to make sure we have no distractions when it comes to you guys. No interruptions, as Donnell Jones would say. Well, how do I do this? Let me see. Oh, there we go. Where's my... No, I don't want that. I want... Here we go. There we go. Ah. So I'm trying to do this with my phone in that, that
We
universe
had a
of...
great interview with Darnell Alexander, and it was amazing.
Well, I'm just honored to be down with the crew.
And this is the crew. Kevin, let us know when you're ready.
You bring the element in here for a second. What's going on? Yeah.
Still can't hear Kevin.
What's that button there? Oh, my mic is good. Somebody's on mute. If it's...
I'm on mute.
Oh, okay. Got you.
I said Dr. Nay said a curse.
Say what? You got extra doctor skills.
That's what you learn in grad school.
Uh,
She said they didn't tell everybody about this part.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's not really a curse, actually.
No.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of more questions while we're going through our technical situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Dr. Nay, your work touches leadership, art, healing, and generational empowerment. How does each part of your life show up in these projects?
It's really, like, again, the process has been so interesting. Like the words have come, but now when I listen to it or read, I'm like, wow, the words were filtered through me. So yeah, so it's really been inspirational for me. as well. And it's so interesting as well, because I through this process I've realized the power I have within, right? The power
Right.
I can have on other people. And to hear people, what they may say after listening to a track, or reading a poem, or reading my book, it's like, wow, I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact. So I think little bits of me come through my personal experience, starting out as a little Black girl in, South Jamaica, Queens. My experience of being a mom of two, Black sons, being a woman, being a Black woman in the world. I think there are little bits and pieces, as an educator, because I have, the two books for children that we use in schools.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience from being an educator, as to knowing what's missing in the curriculum, and what, like, is going back to what we said about speaking growth, speaking positivity into children. So that's the purpose of my books, for the children as well, for them to hear those words, for them to um, develop their aspirations
Right.
and affirmations, because many children aren't even thinking long term. So if you want to be whatever, an astronaut, well, you really need to think about, well, what do you need to do, it doesn't just happen. You have to have a plan, and start now.
Right. Okay, maybe we're ready. Shout
Okay.
out to Gen 7 for my little opening credit here. And it's funny because when I'm talking to Kevin in the background, I can hear it playing.
That's funny.
Mm.
All right. Hell no.
Domestic abuse? No excuse. Don't even consider or contemplate. Trust me, you don't want to meet your tragic fate. Nowhere in the contract of our relation is it written as an official stipulation. I don't believe in unnecessary emotional drama or condone any sort of abusive trauma. Despite childhood experiences from your past, abusive behavior should never start or last. Hell no. Abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, don't ever deem as acceptable. Don't consider calling me a bitch or a hoe. That results in many troubles that you'll sow. I mean this, bro. Don't even think about raising your hands at me. You better check yourself and take a seat. Hell no. No way would I volunteer to be your punching bag. You need to stop and think with your brain lag. Hell no. Stress and alcohol can't be used as a blame. Abusing a woman makes you a coward, lame. You need to measure your level of testosterone, for this hormone doesn't make a man grown. A real man protects his lady as her defender, not assume the role as the abusive offender. Hell no. My ears are deaf to any sorry from you. How to treat a lady? You haven't a clue. If you did it once, you'll do it again. If you did it once, you'll do it again. I won't wait for it to repeat to happen again. Apologies and excuses are null and void. This relationship you destroy. A man has never put his hands on me, not even my great grandpappy. So if you ponder any thought of abuse, self-isolate and become a recluse. Reflect upon the treatment you might bestow, and all about me you already know. It may be best to say goodbye to me right now, preventing you from becoming a captive clown, wearing black and white stripes in the jail downtown. In conclusion, I am a beautiful woman, bro. A woman king. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Domestic violence. Hell no. Hell no. I am not a dog. I am not a dog. Hell no. I am not a dog. I am not a dog.
I just love it. I just love it. So since Mr. Alexander joined us, tell me what you think about this video and about, Dr. Nay's spoken fusion.
Me?
Yeah,
Moi? I thought that's great. I mean, the more voices we have out there that are gonna, it's like sometimes it's hard to reach people, right? So, doing it in song form, spoken word, I think is wonderful because she can do that on many platforms. Really, it's just about reaching people, spreading the word, and educating people. So, good job, doctor.
So, Dr. Nate, tell us about Hell No. I know you was telling us about it before. A lot of people in the chat said that they couldn't see the video. You can also go to Dr. Nate Renee White's YouTube channel. Give them your website and how they can go back and watch the video.
Okay, so the video is on my YouTube channel, Dr. Nay Renee. It's at Dr. Nay Renee. That's my YouTube channel. So both of the videos are on there right now, and I believe it went public at 7 o'clock. So you can go there to see it. And I guess to talk a little bit about the concept, of the video, it's the idea of, a woman going through it. And just to make it clear, where with my nephew and his wife, they're happily married with twins, 1 year old twins, and a son 9 or 10. So they were doing it without even the sound because I had just put the babies to sleep. So I just want to make sure that people know that no, it's not, we're just all acting and having a good time acting. But this idea of, portraying someone who's going through it, right? And then, for that woman
Hold
or
on.
the man to, embrace their power and move on with their lives to a better life, for them to look at the beauty of themselves, not just their outward beauty, but their beauty from within, and then just walking away and being free, and being safe, and just moving on, with their lives, and their careers and etc. So that's pretty much you think about, the conceptual framework, um, of the video. But what's also so interesting is that, looking at the project as a whole, how each track, I won't say song, is a different genre per se. There's some neo soul, there's some R&B. Herb even, created some Afrobeat, sound. So there's a mix of sounds, where some songs you could dance to it in the club, and then there's some where you want to sit and chill, with a glass of wine or whatever, and to think, right? To think about the words. So I want people to enjoy it, to enjoy the music, but at the same time get the message.
And Gen 7 in the chat said, dope. A lot of people gonna need this. Well put together. Thank you, Gen 7. A lot of people do need this. And like you said, not even with just domestic violence and just knowing your boundaries with people and what you will allow people to do and what you won't allow to do, like hell no, like no. We need to learn how to say hell no at our jobs, at home when family's always calling you to do things that, hell no. So, that can be taken in a lot of different places.
Exactly. And there's a poem in my book.
Like,
It's okay to say no. You
it's
know,
okay to say
because so many times, people, it's hard to say no, so it's like it's okay to say no. And then, I give them prompts as to, okay, well, how can you kind of phase into that? What practices to what you're going to say no. You may not be able to say no, hell no right away, but you may say, oh well, I'm busy, have your game plan, and then you can get more confidence and more courage to the point where you just say hell to the nos,
it's definitely a
you're
behavior
actually
that you have
right. It
to learn.
crosses. Hmm.
It's a learned behavior, something we have to constantly practice in order to get more comfortable with saying no, because everything can be yes. It's not always a yes for me, so I can't always say yes, you know?
Look, I always say no first. You can always say yes later, but if you say, you know what I mean? If you say yes first, you can't say no.
That's true.
So
That's a good
just say
one.
no.
That's true.
Just say no first. And a lot of times I tell people you get a lot of information when you say no.
About the person.
Mm. Hi,
It's
nice to meet you
like
again. Nice to meet this other version of you that I've never seen before.
good point. Gen 7 said, good point, good point. So, Dr. Nay, what do we have to look forward coming from you?
Right now, I'm looking at promoting the album, getting the message out there. I'm in the process of promoting my book as well because actually I had published it with a company, but I discontinued that. So I just published it under my incorporation. So
Mhm.
I need to promote it because it's like a new book now. And then I'm working on republishing the books for the children in the schools. So that should be coming out hopefully in a week or so. It should be, I know the Kindle version is on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and etc., but I'm still waiting for the print to be finalized. So, there are a lot of irons, in the fire, and I'm looking at, speaking to women, to uh, companies, for leadership. Because actually, my doctorate is in leadership, educational leadership. So it's the idea of you want employees who embrace their power, who have that confidence, because then you get more productivity. So it crosses a lot of different areas. So yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
out there.
I definitely applaud you, my sister. We need more role models like you. We need more women, more moms, more people to be outspoken. Um, yeah, we need that.
Hmm.
We need
Definitely.
that. And thank you, Mr. Alexander. It's a pleasure. He's a superstar, Dr. Nay.
Yes, I saw him the other night on your show.
He's a true superstar. Darnell, could you ever see yourself doing a collaboration with Dr. Nay, like a spoken fusion kind of like maybe where you sing in the background or something?
I could.
Okay, okay,
Produced
okay.
by Herb Middleton.
By Herb Middleton, yeah, because actually there are some songs where I have featured artists. I have Mister, I have Mark Staggers,
Yeah.
and someone else, Theo Love,
You love?
Barry White.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So
He's real good.
they're featured on some of the songs on my album. So
All
yeah,
right.
so it's really cool to have that collaboration because you have the singing that I'm
Yeah.
not a singer whatsoever. Who
Yeah.
knows as of yet. And I never say never. Um,
Right.
Yeah.
and the music and the poetry, the message. It's a powerful thing.
Yeah. It all goes hand in hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's crossing all these different domains, right? It's bringing that collaboration together.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Creativity, collaboration, purpose.
Hmm.
I mean, when you put all those things together, it's so refreshing. It's just so refreshing and to see how happy you are and always smiling and shedding cheer. And we have Darnell over here, and he's just like a ray of light, and it's a pleasure.
She knows it's all from loving yourself. When you love yourself, it's just like I'm here finally. Thank you.
And then
About time.
you have when you show love towards others.
Yeah.
Some people walk around with the grim face all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like everywhere I go, I talk to people because it's just the
Yeah.
idea of just I don't know, just giving
Yeah. Sharing.
energy to people. Yeah,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
that's just
Let your light radiate and shine on others.
exactly.
That is shine.
That's our power within. Is our light that we have within. So you want your
Absolutely.
light to transmit to others.
Yep.
I love it, and keep shining that light. Keep shining that light. And I want to thank everyone who was on live dealing with us through our technical difficulties. This is a new thing for WWETV going live, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, we don't have room for error over here. That's just let you know that this is not scripted. This is real life, real people, real questions, real answers. I promise you, we didn't practice anything. And that's what you want. That's what we want. Keeping it real, keeping it right, keeping it positive, staying tuned, in tune, learning, growing, teaching each other. I mean, if you're not doing that, you really have no purpose. And if you feel like you don't have a purpose, just hit me up. I'll find a purpose for you. I'll help you find your purpose. Thank you so much, Dr. Nate. Thank you, Darnell Alexander, for joining us. Don't hesitate to check back in and join us again. And stay
Yep.
tuned. You can watch the recap. You can watch Darnell's interview, Dr. Nate's interview. She has other interviews. Dr. Nate has become, a regular. We're trying to give her her own show over here at
Nice.
WWETV. So,
All right.
y'all hit up on Facebook.
That would be my first guest.
Okay.
Darnell will be your first guest.
Yeah.
You can hit up and tell her, we want to hear more of Dr. Nay. We want to hear and we want to see more. And thank you so much, my twin sister. It's always a pleasure.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah, and my website is drnayrenee.com, drnayrenee.com, and my YouTube is at Dr. Nay Renee. And then I'm on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok now.
And she's her own promoter. I tell you, I'm trying to hire her to do some of my promotions. That's how good she is. And it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Dr. Nate.
Thank you, Miss Goldi. It was wonderful. You're a sweetheart.
Thanks.
See you guys.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Worldwide Entertainment TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and check out more videos right here on the channel. We've got a lot more coming your way.